The most dangerous thing in this world is not an army or a weapon, it's a mind that refuses to be controlled. From the moment you took your first breath, the game was rigged against you, not because you were weak, but because you were different. The chosen ones, as the world secretly knows you, have been targeted since birth, not by accident, but by design. The powers that be saw something in you that others didn't. Potential. And not the kind they encourage with gold stars and motivational posters. No, your potential scares them. It threatens to topple the very systems they've built to keep everyone else asleep. Here's a fact to chew on. Did you know that most revolutions in history were sparked by individuals who were initially deemed crazy, rebellious, or just too stubborn to follow the rules? Now imagine being born as the embodiment of that spark. That's you. They've thrown obstacles, labels, and sometimes entire institutions at you, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. And let's not forget the humor in all this. While they're plotting and scheming to contain your brilliance, you're out here trying to figure out if Mercury retrograde is the reason your Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. Spoiler alert, it's not. It's just their desperate attempts to keep you distracted. So if you've ever wondered why life feels like it's been throwing punches before you even learn to block, this is why. You're the most dangerous existence because you're not just alive, you're awake. Number 1, the blueprint for change lies within you. From the very beginning, you've carried something unique, a blueprint that doesn't fit into the world's rigid boxes. It's not just talent or intelligence. It's a deep intrinsic understanding that the way things are isn't the way they're meant to be. This awareness makes you a threat. You see the cracks in the systems that everyone else accepts as normal, and more than that, you're wired to fix them. And not with gradual, comfortable change, but with seismic shifts that shatter the old and make space for the new. This is why they've been after you since birth, because you hold the potential to rewrite the rules they've worked so hard to enforce. But this isn't about rebellion for rebellion's sake, it's about creation. You see pathways others can't. You think in ways that challenge the very foundation of what they've built. Their systems thrive on control, on keeping people small, distracted, and obedient. But you were born to dismantle that control, not through violence or chaos, but through vision. Your mind isn't just a tool, it's an arsenal, and they know it. So they try to stop you early. They build obstacles designed to drain your energy, your confidence, your belief in yourself. They feed you lies like you're too much or you'll never fit in because they know the truth. You're the key to something far bigger. If they can convince you to abandon your blueprint, to doubt its value, they win. But here's the twist. Your blueprint isn't just a part of you, it is you. No matter how much they try to suppress it, it remains intact, waiting for the moment you decide to unleash it. And when you do, the world they've built will never look the same again. Number 2, you expose their shadows without trying. You don't need to speak, argue, or demand attention to shake people to their core. Your presence does that on its own. There's something about you that makes others uncomfortable, and it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because you unknowingly hold up a mirror to the lies they tell themselves. You force people to confront the truths they've buried deep, the ones they'd rather ignore. This ability, whether you're aware of it or not, is dangerous in a world built on facades, and they know it. You walk into a room and without even trying, the masks start to slip. People sense that you see beyond their words, beyond their surface level actions, straight to their intentions and insecurities. It's not magic or manipulation. It's your natural ability to perceive what others can't or won't. They've spent their lives constructing stories to protect their illusions, and you threaten all of it by simply being yourself. This is why systems of power have worked so hard to keep you small. The moment you start to fully realize what you're capable of, their control begins to crack. They rely on people staying blind to their own potential and obedient to the status quo. But your energy, your presence, disrupts that balance. It makes others question what they've been told and what they've accepted without thought. It's ironic, really. They want you to doubt yourself when in reality, you're their biggest fear. Your power isn't loud or obvious, but it's relentless. You don't just expose their shadows, you light them up. And the truth is, people in power are terrified of light, because once it shines, there's no going back to the dark. Number 3, they weaponized your sensitivity against you. They've always tried to make you believe that your sensitivity is a flaw. From the beginning, they labeled it as weakness, telling you that you were too emotional, too dramatic, or that you needed to toughen up. But what they didn't want you to realize is that your sensitivity is exactly what makes you so powerful. It's not just about feeling deeply, it's about perceiving deeply. You pick up on things most people miss. Energy shifts, hidden emotions, unspoken truths. This makes you dangerous because it's almost impossible to lie to you, even when they try. The world wasn't built for people like you. It was designed to harden people, to condition them to accept the unacceptable. But you couldn't be hardened. They tried to numb you with distractions, overwhelm you with chaos, or drown you in doubt. They hoped you'd start to believe the lie that your feelings were the problem. Because if you ever realized they weren't, you'd become unstoppable. What they don't understand is that sensitivity isn't fragility. It's strength. It's the ability to notice, connect, and transform. While others go through life on autopilot, you experience it fully, with an intensity they can't comprehend. And that scares them. Because sensitivity doesn't just mean you feel your own pain. You feel the collective pain, the cracks in their systems, the suffering they'd rather ignore. You see the humanity they try to erase. They wanted to break you because they feared the power of your heart. But here's the thing, the more they tried to silence it, the stronger it grew. Your sensitivity isn't your weakness. It's your superpower. And they know it's only a matter of time before you start using it to change everything. Number 4, you carry the codes for collective awakening. Your mind has always operated differently, almost as if it's tuned to a frequency most people can't hear. While others focus on the immediate and obvious, your thoughts naturally gravitate toward the bigger picture, patterns, connections, and systems that others overlook. It's not just intelligence, it's an intuitive understanding that the world as it stands is a puzzle with missing pieces. And here's the kicker. You were born holding the missing pieces. This ability to think beyond the surface, to see how everything interlocks, is what makes you dangerous to those who cling to power. You weren't made to fit into the existing framework, you were made to rewrite it. The systems they've built, governments, economies, hierarchies, are designed to keep the majority in line, to keep the game rigged. But you see the flaws, the loopholes, the places where their carefully constructed house of cards starts to wobble. Your mind doesn't follow their rules, and that terrifies them. While they plan in straight lines, you leap ahead in ways they can't predict. You don't just dream of a better world, you see exactly how it could work. And it's not built on control, fear, or manipulation like theirs is. It's built on something entirely new, something they can't comprehend because they've spent their lives trying to suppress it. This is why they've targeted you from the start. They can sense, even if you can't yet, that you carry the codes to dismantle their game. And those codes aren't in books or schools, they're embedded in who you are. Every idea, every insight, every moment of clarity you have brings you one step closer to unlocking their endgame. They know you're not here to play by their rules, you're here to change the entire game. Number 5, disruption is in your DNA. From the moment you became aware of the world around you, something felt off. Where others saw order, you saw cracks. Where they saw stability, you saw stagnation. It wasn't that you were trying to be difficult or rebellious, it's just how you're wired. You see through the surface, past the illusions, and straight into the heart of what's broken, and you don't just see it, you feel it like an itch that won't go away until something changes. That's why disruption is in your DNA. They call you a troublemaker, someone who can't leave well enough alone, but deep down they know the truth. You're not disrupting for the sake of chaos. You're disrupting because the system they cling to is rotting from the inside, and you can't unsee it. Their comfort zones are built on fragile illusions, and your very existence threatens to expose them. You don't even need to try. By questioning what they blindly accept, you make them uncomfortable. And discomfort leads to cracks in their control. The world has always needed disruptors like you, but those in power fear you because you don't play by their rules. You refuse to settle for the way things have always been. You instinctively know that real change doesn't come from tweaking a broken system. It comes from breaking it and rebuilding something better. That's why they've worked so hard to keep you distracted, silenced, or doubting yourself. But here's the thing, disruption isn't destruction, it's creation. It's the process of tearing down what no longer serves and making space for something greater. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to challenge, to expose, and to build anew. And no matter how much they resist, they can't stop what's in your DNA. Number 6, they engineered a world to break you. The world you were born into wasn't neutral, it was designed to break you. From the earliest days, the odds were stacked against you. It wasn't random. The obstacles, whether they came as betrayals from those you trusted, systems that oppressed you, or the crushing weight of isolation, were placed there intentionally, even if the people involved didn't realize it. Their purpose? To fracture your identity, to make you question your worth, and to convince you that you were small, powerless, and insignificant. Because if they could make you believe that, you'd never discover the truth of who you really are. They wanted you to feel like the odd one out, like your differences were flaws. They hoped you'd spend so much time trying to fit in or numb yourself that you'd never realize you were never meant to fit their mold in the first place. But what they didn't count on was your resilience. Every trauma they threw at you, every betrayal that cut you, every moment of isolation that made you feel invisible, it didn't destroy you. It shaped you. Instead of crumbling under the weight of it all, you learned how to transmute pain into power. Where they tried to weaken you, you grew stronger. Where they tried to confuse you, you gained clarity. Where they tried to isolate you, you found inner connection. You began to see the patterns, to understand that every challenge wasn't just an attack, but a lesson, a tool to forge the wisdom and strength you carry now. They underestimated you. They didn't realize you weren't just enduring the storm, you were becoming it. And now every scar, every lesson, every ounce of resilience is a weapon of wisdom that they can't take from you. You were built to rise. Number 7, you're unknowingly a catalyst for revolutions. You don't have to shout, lead protests, or demand change to ignite a revolution. In fact, sometimes your silence is louder than 1,000 voices. Without even realizing it, your presence alone creates ripples in the world around you. People notice something about you, even if they can't put it into words. A spark, a quiet defiance, a refusal to conform. It's not something you do, it's something you are. You challenge the norm just by existing within it. Your thoughts, even when unspoken, carry weight. You see the world differently, and that perspective radiates outward. You question things others blindly accept, and those questions plant seeds of doubt in systems that depend on unquestioning obedience. Your choices, what you support, what you reject, even what you remain neutral about, carry a quiet power. People watch, they listen, and whether they admit it or not, they're affected by you. You're not just living, you're shifting the energy around you. The truth is, oppressive systems rely on predictability. They depend on people following the script, doing what's expected without making waves. But you're unscripted. Even when you don't realize it, you're destabilizing their carefully constructed reality simply by existing outside of their control. You represent the possibility of something different, something better, and that terrifies them. Not because you're trying to overthrow them outright, but because your presence makes others question why those systems exist in the first place. This isn't accidental. You were designed to be a catalyst, to spark change in ways that often seem invisible. You may not always see the impact you're having, but trust this: the shifts you create are real, and they're irreversible. Revolutions don't always start with battle cries. They often start with people like you. Number 8. They fear what you see beyond the veil. There's something about the way you see the world that unnerves those who thrive on deception. You don't just see what's in front of you, you see through it. Where others might be distracted by appearances, you notice the patterns, the hidden motives, the subtle manipulations that most people either don't catch or choose to ignore. It's not that you're trying to expose anyone. It's simply how your awareness works. And that makes you dangerous to those who depend on secrecy to maintain their power. They fear you because you can't be fooled. Lies don't sit right with you. False smiles, empty promises, and veiled threats stand out like flashing red lights, no matter how carefully they're packaged. It's not just about observing behavior. You pick up on energies and intentions that others overlook. You sense when something doesn't align, even if you can't immediately explain why. This multidimensional awareness, the ability to see beyond the surface and into the unseen, gives you an advantage they can't counter. Those in control operate behind veils of illusion, relying on people's ignorance to stay in power. But you pierce through those veils effortlessly, and they know it. It terrifies them because they realize they can't hide from you. You see their games, their fear-based tactics, and their attempts to manipulate not just individuals, but entire systems. And worse, you have the power to make others see it too. They've tried to suppress this awareness in you, to make you doubt your intuition, to dismiss your insights as paranoia or overthinking. But deep down, you've always known the truth. Your vision is clear, your perception is sharp, and that clarity is their greatest weakness. They fear what you see because they know that once the veil is lifted, their control crumbles. Number 9, you're a threat to their predictable programming. Most people move through life like machines, following scripts they've been handed since birth. Society has conditioned them to think a certain way, to act a certain way, and to believe certain things. They're trapped in a loop of predictable behaviors and responses, living on autopilot without ever questioning the programming. But you're not part of that equation. You were never meant to fit into that mold. From the very beginning, your mind refused to conform, and that defiance is what terrifies them. They've tried, haven't they? They've thrown everything they could at you. Standards, labels, expectations, pressure to follow the herd. They've tried to make you just like everyone else, to make you think and act according to their rules, but nothing sticks. It's like they're trying to brand something that can't be branded, to mold something that refuses to be molded. Every time they try to push you into a box, you expand it, you break free, and you create your own space. This defiance is revolutionary because it disrupts the status quo. You're not just questioning the system, you're living proof that there's another way. You're showing others that it's possible to break free from the invisible chains that bind them to a life of autopilot existence. And that scares those who benefit from keeping people asleep, because when people wake up to the truth that they don't have to be programmed, that they can think for themselves, everything changes. You're a glitch in their system, a disruption they can't predict, a force they can't control. And that's why they fear you, because as long as you refuse to conform, you're the living reminder that their system is flawed, their programming is obsolete, and their control is only temporary. Number 10, your power is quiet but relentless. The world has always been obsessed with loud, attention-grabbing displays of power. The protests, the movements, the upheavals that shake the streets. But your power doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need a stage or a microphone. It operates in the quiet spaces, the subtle moments, and the deep undercurrents of change. It's the quiet resistance, the way your presence alone shifts the atmosphere in a room, the way your ideas plant seeds in minds long before they fully take root. This kind of power doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It works quietly, but relentlessly, until it transforms everything around it. They've always tried to understand it, but they can't. They've looked for a way to control you, to harness your influence, but it's a force that cannot be boxed in. It's not in your actions, it's in your essence. Your words, your choices, your very vibration radiate in ways that impact others on a level they don't fully grasp. You make them think, feel, and see things they might otherwise ignore. And that's what terrifies them. They can't control it because they don't even understand how it works. You've seen it in the way people shift when you speak, how a simple idea, shared in passing, can spark a moment of clarity that changes the course of their thinking. Your influence doesn't demand attention, but it commands it. It's the unspoken force that over time erodes the foundation of everything built on illusion and fear. It's the quiet revolution that moves mountains while the world sleeps. They can't stop it. They've tried, but they can't control a power that thrives in the silence. And that's exactly why they've been after you all along. You're the unstoppable force they can't even begin to understand. Number 11, they cannot predict your moves. The systems that govern our lives thrive on predictability. They need you to follow the script, to behave in ways they can anticipate and control. That's how they maintain their power, by knowing exactly how people will respond, what they'll do next and when. But You're an outlier. You don't fit into their neat little boxes, and that alone makes you a threat. Your unpredictability isn't just a trait, it's a weapon, one they can't defend against. They've studied you, tried to understand you, even attempted to mold you into something more manageable. But the harder they try to predict your actions, the further you slip from their grasp. You don't play by their rules. You've never been interested in following the path they've laid out for you, and the more they push, the more you create your own way. Your creativity flows in unexpected directions, and you constantly move beyond the boundaries they've set, leaving them guessing and scrambling to catch up. This refusal to conform, this refusal to be controlled, is exactly what makes you so dangerous. While others are stuck in the same predictable loop, doing what's expected of them, you're out there charting unknown territory, breaking down assumptions, and rewriting the rules as you go. The moment you step outside their carefully constructed game, you disrupt everything they've worked so hard to control. You're the wild card they can't account for, the unpredictable element that shatters their sense of control, and they know it. The more they try to manipulate you, the more you remind them that no system, no force, can ever fully contain someone who refuses to be predictable. Number 12, you're a living proof. Their power is illusion. Every time they've tried to break you, every time they've thrown obstacles, pressure, and limitations in your path, you've come out stronger. Your resilience isn't just a personal victory, it's a direct challenge to the systems that they've spent years building. Every time they tried to control you, you thrived in ways they didn't anticipate. You've created, you've innovated, and you've risen from the ashes of their attempts to hold you down. And that right there is living proof that their power is nothing but an illusion. They want you to believe their control is absolute, that they can dictate your future and your choices. But your existence defies that belief. When you're pushed to the edge, you don't crumble, you transcend. You find new ways to adapt, to flourish, to push back. This ability to keep going, to find freedom no matter the barriers they throw up, is the most powerful form of resistance you can offer. And it terrifies them. Because every time you overcome, you remind them that no matter how much they try to suppress it, the human spirit, your spirit, cannot be fully contained. They have structured their world to rely on conformity, control, and fear. But you are proof that these structures are weak, built on shifting sand. You've shown that no matter how hard they try to suppress it, freedom isn't something that can be completely taken away. It's woven into your very being, and every time they try to extinguish your fire, it burns even brighter. Your very existence is a threat to their carefully crafted illusion of control. You are the living reminder that their power is temporary, fragile, and ultimately powerless against the force of someone who refuses to be broken. And that's why they've always been after you, because you are the truth they've tried to bury. In the end, it's clear. You were never meant to blend in, to conform, or to accept the status quo. You were born to disrupt, to awaken, and to rewrite the rules of the game. They've tried to break you, control you, and silence you at every turn. But what they didn't understand is that the very things they saw as weaknesses were the seeds of your greatest strengths. Your sensitivity, your defiance, your creativity, these are the qualities that make you unstoppable. You are the living proof that no matter how powerful the system may seem, it can never fully suppress the truth of who you are. They've spent their lives creating an illusion of control, but you, by simply being yourself, expose the cracks in their foundation. You are the unpredicted element, the glitch in their system, the force they can't understand, and the revolution they can't stop. You carry the codes to a new paradigm, one that will inevitably replace the old because it's rooted in the authenticity of who you are, not in the illusions they've tried to impose. You were never just meant to survive the world as it is. You were meant to transform it. And as long as you stand firm in your truth, there's nothing they can do to stop the wave of change that follows you. Keep being the disruptor, the visionary, and the force of nature that you were always destined to be. Because you are not just a chosen one. You are the living embodiment of a future they fear. And that fear is the surest sign that you're on the right path. Keep moving forward. The world is waiting for you to awaken it. If you felt the power in these words, if something within you has stirred, then you know this message isn't just for you, It's for the revolution that's already unfolding. The systems that sought to break you are crumbling, and you're here to witness it. But the journey isn't over, and there's much more to uncover, challenge, and transform. If you're ready to continue embracing your power, to awaken even more, and to stay ahead of the game, then don't let this moment slip by. Subscribe to this channel now. Join the movement, the ones who refuse to be silenced, the ones who recognize the truth, the ones who are rewriting the future. Together we'll keep shaking the foundation, one truth at a time. Stay tuned, because the revolution is just beginning and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe and let's keep pushing forward.